We would like to call to order our meeting tonight for the Paramount Planning Commission, December 16th, 2021. All please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call of members, please.
Commissioner Abrego?
Here.
Commissioner Bautista?
Here.
Commissioner Esparza?
Here.
Vice Chair Gutierrez?
Here.
Chair Weisenberger?
Here. Okay, item number 1, approval of minutes from November 9, 2021. We need a motion to approve.
Esparza will make the motion to approve. Gutierrez, I'll second it.
Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Abrego?
Yes.
Commissioner Bautista?
Yes.
Commissioner Esparza?
Yes.
Vice Chair Gutierrez?
Yes.
Chair Weisenberger?
Yes. Okay. We have any public comments tonight, John?
We do have 3 public comment cards. They are related to items on the agenda, so we'll have them come up and speak when we get to those items.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Let's move to our public hearings. Item number 2, zoning ordinance text amendment. This is a request to amend regulations for condominium conversions in residential zones citywide. You have a staff report?
Yes, Mr. Chair and members of the commission, we are still working on this ordinance, so we're recommending that you remove it from the calendar, and we'll bring it back to you in the next month or 2.
Okay, very good. So we'll need a motion then to close public hearing first. Get a motion to close the public hearing?
Actually, Mr. Chair, all you need to do in this time is make a motion to take the item off calendar. We will renotice when that comes back again.
Okay, very good, thank you. In that case, we need a motion to take the zoning ordinance, text amendment number 23 off the calendar then.
It's Commissioner Abrego, I make a motion we remove it from the calendar.
I second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Abrego?
Yes.
Commissioner Bautista?
Yes.
Commissioner Esparza?
Yes.
Vice Chair Gutierrez?
Yes.
Chair Weisenberger?
Yes. Okay, item number 3, amendment to conditional use permit number 674. This is a request by Medical Waste Services, LLC, to expand hours of operation from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. And the new proposed hours are 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. for a facility that treats and disposes of medical waste at 7321, 7329 Quimby Street in the M2 Heavy Manufacturing Zone. Staff report?
Yes, Mr. Chair, members of the commission, I'll be going over this report with you. Jessica, the monitors aren't on. Could you? There we go. Thank you. Okay. Great. Okay, so yes, Mr. Chair and members of the commission, this is a request to amend conditional use permit number 674 to extend the hours of operation for medical waste services. Currently, the business operates from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., and they are proposing to expand from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. The business is located in the heavy manufacturing zone, and it receives, treats, and disposes of medical waste using steam sterilization. This conditional use permit was approved in 2010. Sorry about that. So the medical waste is treated through an autoclave, and this is a device that was invented in 1879 to sterilize equipment and material. Autoclaves are have been used for many years by hospitals to treat medical waste, and that includes Cedars-Sinai, Children's Hospital Los Angeles, and Kaiser Permanente. Sorry, I'm having some trouble with the remote. So, waste is separated, secured, and packaged prior to delivery to the site. It's unloaded and in an autoclave bin. It is then sterilized in the autoclave and removed and compacted and that it's safe to be transported to a landfill for disposal. Jessica, could you move it forward? Here's a aerial of where the property is located. It's off of Garfield on Quimby Street, outlined in the red at the end of Quimby. Next, here's a look at the exterior of the two buildings at the site. Next, Jessica. And here's an site plan of the property outlined in red, and the two buildings are outlined in blue. And it is recommended that you adopt Resolution PC 21017, approving the amendment to Conditional Use Permit number 674, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, John. Okay, let's open the public hearing portion of the meeting. Do we have any testimony tonight, John?
Let's see. So the applicants are in the audience. If you would like to speak in favor, you would come up to the podium. And if you could, Bob, could you hit the button to turn the mic on? Thank you.
Hello, my name is Bob Shaw, and I'm the president of Medical Waste Services. I've been in the medical waste business for over 35 years. So built the biggest medical waste business in the world, actually, back at the beginning, and now we're doing it here in Paramount. So how can I help? Or what do you want to know?
What kind of machines are you going to be using
I'm sorry?
that expansion? What kind of machines are going to be used?
We're just extending our operating hours. We have the same equipment. There's no new equipment. Two reasons, I guess. First of all, it allows us to treat more waste, and
Right.
we pay our business license is tied to how much waste we treat, so your fees will go up. And second of all is COVID has really driven the business. Because of COVID, there's been a lot of extra business, and we've got kind of a parking problem on the street. So we have our trucks kind of queue up on the street, and I think we've concluded it'd be much better to extend our operating hours. Therefore, we'd spread those trucks out and not be as much of a problem to our neighbors. So obviously expansion of the business and hiring more employees and relieving some of the congestion out front are really the reasons we're here tonight.
Would that contribute to any kind of noise? Like, would it affect it because now it's going to be from 5 to 10?
Would that contribute to what?
Like, does it going to create problems with the residents?
I don't think so. We're surrounded by other businesses. I think we're creating problems now via truck traffic. I mean, we really don't with some of our neighbors on our street. I mean, just because they have to queue up before they get to the dock. But I don't think the residences will have any problem at all.
Does it, well, when you're doing with waste, how about smell? Has anybody ever complained about smell?
We've had odor complaints from time to time. I mean, we treat, and it's usually not from medical waste, it's from our international garbage. We treat the waste that comes off of ships, and we have no idea how long that waste has been kept hostage on a ship. And that's one of the other reasons I think that I guess I didn't mention would be that hopefully by extending our operating hours, we'd be able to do this later at night when all the other businesses are gone. If there is an odor issue, and I haven't heard any odor complaints in a long time, but if there is, it's only for literally about maybe 5 minutes at the most or less. And that's because it's when we exchange loads from our autoclave and dump it in our compactor. And it's like pulling a piece of hot bread out of the oven. The fumes from that go up in the air and can sometimes create odor. Now, 4 years ago, we did invest over $100,000 in 4 air scrubbers that are hanging on my ceiling that have done a marvelous job in taking the odor out of the air. So obviously, we want to be a good neighbor, and I via my phone calls or emails, people talking to me, I don't think it's a huge problem.
I just want to make sure that the air quality is going to be okay for the residents.
Yeah, air quality, South Coast Air Quality's been to our facility for another piece of equipment that we operate inside, which is an incineration replacement piece of equipment. And we're in 100% compliance with them and every other agency, governmental agency in California. So we have no problems. Quite frankly, that piece of equipment, the emissions that it emits, burning pharmaceutical waste, trace chemo, etc., is 1,200 times cleaner than ambient air. So really, it's quite remarkable. But we only operate that. We're not. That doesn't have anything to do with our expansion of. We can only operate. We promised the city we'd only operate one cycle of that unit a day, and that's all we've done. And that's all we will do going forward. So, but there's no odor violations, or I don't have any agency that is upset at MWS.
I have one question. How much waste do you transport per day, roughly?
We probably do 2 compactor loads a day that go out. I mean, waste comes in, trucks come in,
Right.
and then what happens is it goes through the autoclave process. A truck comes in, and it has containers full of medical waste. It's tied off in red bags. It's dumped over railing. Those autoclave carts then go into the autoclave, which is rather large. It's 36 feet long and 6 feet wide. Push 6 of those carts in. Cycle lasts right around about an hour. When we pull those carts out, all that waste has now been sucked into kind of like a hockey puck. All the metals, all the plastic has been melted. And then we take it to a compactor, which is inside our footprint. It's dumped up in the air and goes in a compactor and compacted in. And that box now is going about twice a day. And I send the cleanest garbage to the landfill. It's all sanitized. So, but about 2 compactor loads a day.
About 2.
Yeah,
About 2
trucks
trucks
going
come in.
out, right.
Yeah.
Now, of course, there's numerous trucks that come in to
Right.
deliver to us today. But you know, going out is just twice a day. CalMet does the hauling, obviously.
Any other questions from our
No.
group here?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Don, do we have anything else?
Nobody else in favor that submitted a card. I do have 2 opposition. One was a phone call that I received this afternoon in opposition from Isaac Corin at 14059 Garfield, ICI Architectural Work Mill, and he was in opposition due to odors. We also received a email, which I'll just read into the record. I have no idea why it's even allowed to have such intolerable smells. This is from Mr. Juan Jimenez. He's the president of Mastech Direct. We have been wearing masks even before the pandemic, inside and outside my units. The smell goes into our vent system, and they usually last about half an hour. By the time someone from Air Quality Management District showed up, it's gone. I have been told that 6 or more calls have to be received at AQMD in order for them to actual come and check. It's very rewarding to have a small business and wear many hats and be my family's provider. It's a humbling experience considering my background, raised in the streets of East Los Angeles with no parents, jumping from one house to another at 10 years old. Unfortunately, my American dream comes with a bad smell, which I have been dealing with for well over 10 years, and still to this day it's the same. I just can't imagine what sacrifices have been made to make my day, our air, more satisfying. I understand MWS, Medical Waste Services, upgraded their boiling machine in 2010, but it's all the same. Who knows what in the world we are taking in our bodies and what effect it will have in our future. I just know nothing has changed, and it will be best that they move their operation away from here. Whomever allowed this business to operate at its current location should have thought about having their children next door to it so they can't think and realize what a big mistake that was. And those were the two opposition that we did receive.
Are we able to further investigate, just to see if there's more people that are not coming up and,
Right, so we did do a 500-foot radius notification around the property, so that means that property owners and tenants within 500 feet were notified about the public hearing this evening. So in response to that notification, we did receive the 2 complaints. We also checked with AQMD. There aren't any notices of violation for odors, so those are the sources that we have.
Quick question: the second person that called in opposition, was it a commercial resident at a commercial location, or was that a residential resident?
These are both businesses on Garfield.
Both businesses on
Right.
Garfield. Yeah, 'cause I'm trying to think if there's any residential nearby. There isn't too.
Residential is to the north across the DWP easement, and then it would be way to the west across the Edison easement.
did we reach out there too, to the residents as well there?
Yeah, so it would have gone 500 feet, so it probably would not have hit those residential neighborhoods.
I do understand why some of the residents do have issues, because we have several locations in Paramount that do have some smell coming out, and as obviously all of us, as part of the community, we come across it, and it is true. I have heard from Air Quality Control that you have to have 6 complaints, so it doesn't even hit the books unless you have 6 complaints. Now, obviously, the applicant is already in operation. They're just asking to extend the hours, so I do understand how extending the hours to later would help, so that it's when the other businesses are not around and they're not open. Is there any way we can put some type of condition on this to make sure that they stay within a reasonable accommodations to reduce some type of nuisance smell?
That would be up to discussion between the commission if you come to a consensus on something.
Yeah, I agree, yeah, definitely.
Mr. Chair, there's an opportunity for a rebuttal by the applicant
Okay.
to the opposition. You may
Sure,
want to
sure.
have that before.
Would you like to have a rebuttal to the complaints that we heard, sir?
Looks like somebody else might want to speak as well.
John, can you send me both of the names of the people who sent those to me? Because I've never spoke to either of them, and no one's ever been approached me about it, and I'd like to go visit them personally. I've know everybody in that cul-de-sac. So maybe I got a dead spot in my brain on who it is, but I just like to talk to them personally. We want to be a good neighbor, for crying out loud. We don't want everyone to go through this if it's a problem. And let me see what's going on, and hopefully we can. I'll at least understand it. I don't know what we can do. I mean, the air scrubbers I have are working very good, and maybe he needs one. I don't know. But
Let me ask you, sir, how long have you been in business at that location?
10 years.
10 years.
10 years. And then the other thing would be, as I mentioned, if we operate the APHIS material, treat the APHIS material after they're closed. I don't think they're open. They're probably all closed by 5, 6 o'clock or so. I think that would help
Bob,
him.
could you lean into the mic a
immensely.
little bit more? Thank
Sorry?
you. Speak a little bit more into the mic.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I got it. I think also one of the things I would discuss with him is what time he closes his business. Because we take this nasty stuff as the international waste, and we can treat that after he goes home and there's nobody there. I mean, this odors, we've never had odors from any residential people that have come to us regarding the autoclave. So that would be one solution, but I don't know until I talk to him. So I'll be happy to make a point to give me his data and information. I'll reach out to him and see if he'll talk with me. So,
I do have a question. Is this smell just a nuisance because it has a bad smell, or is any of it toxic?
Yeah, a good question. As I said, I've been in the business for 35 years, and I was afraid to death when I operated my first autoclave plant that I was going to kill all of my employees. Obviously, there's steam coming out of the autoclave constantly. I was also afraid that they'd never be able to come to work because they would get sick. I'm thinking about school teachers hanging with kids. This goes back early 2000 or 1980. And there have been numerous tests. The autoclave is the workhorse of the industry. It's been tested by every state ad nauseum, and they've never found a problem. So, and the other thing is, my employees never miss a day. I mean, they're very consistent, and the whole thing about the drug. Most of the good news is that by the time that waste gets to us, all the bugs are dead. And the reason they're dead is they've been sitting around somewhere for 24 hours. They actually have to have a live host get into a live host to infect somebody. So that's the infectious side of it. But the odor side has never been a problem. And I've had numerous tours at our facility, many of them by other medical waste people, and they come in and they can't believe it's an autoclave plant because it smells so good. So we may not be best, but it's we feel we're doing a good job. So.
Would you be open to, like you said, maybe processing some of the waste that creates more smell after 5 o'clock, since we're extending the hours?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's what we said. Now, I don't, as I mentioned, the international waste comes in batches, and it's probably 10-15% of our business. And so that's the stuff that gives the most odor.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be, we've done flowers. Who thought flowers would be bad? And they'll go off, sometimes they give off a nasty odor. We've done things that smell very good, like food types, cumin and that type of material, which everyone wants to go eat a burrito after we cook that. But no, I think after hours is one of the reasons, as I mentioned earlier, that we'd like to be able to treat this waste and be a better neighbor. So,
can we put that in the books? Do we need to vote on it?
Let's wait until your public hearing is finished and then.
Okay.
There's a consensus.
Yeah.
The one that, excuse me, the one that was complaining, the second that was complaining, what the smell? What hours did he say he smelled? Did he indicate anything?
No.
Like that? Morning, midday, evening, or what?
No, there's no indication
Indication.
time of day.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we all have a little bit of compassion for the person that was in opposition, just because we already have some smell complaints in the community, so obviously we want to reduce that as much as possible. So if we can do that international waste in the evening and make that part of the conditional use permit, that would be great, so that you're able to continue to operate your business and at the same time not cause a nuisance to.
yeah, no, I mean, I just like to understand his perspective. I was shocked that it was that big of a problem. I'm having trouble believing it right now, but who am I to say? I haven't met the guy. I haven't chatted with him and talked about it. He hasn't reached out to me. I'd happy to discuss him. I'm not sure who the other person was, but I'll get the data from Judd. I'll talk to both of them. So
I'm just concerned that it's not toxic either. I mean, not just the smell itself, but is it toxic to other people that are around?
yeah,
Well, I think at this point they're already approved. They already have a conditional use permit. Right now, the only thing we're doing is approving or denying the extension of the hours. So
Of the
I don't see how the extension of the hours causes any kind of harm. I think we can put in a conditional use on the permit that they may have. We can do that, but extending the hours to me seems it doesn't do any harm.
Right. Plus, have him talk to
Yeah.
the two individuals.
Mr. Chair, we do have one other speaker card, Steve Kucharzik.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Steve, come on.
Hello, Commissioners. My name is Stephen Kucharzik. I live at 7620 Racine Avenue, about maybe 200 yards to the east of this facility, down the Edison line. And I know this plant since it started. And I know initially there were some problems with the smell from the residents, and they started this newest and greatest I thought they described it as the plasma. It plasmacized the waste and incinerated it. Now, I haven't heard recently about any smell there, but initially it was really a problem in the neighborhood. I heard it described as like smelling like cattle hides or something. My biggest concern was, is the volume increasing, or is this just gives them more time to take care of the normal amount of waste they've been doing? That would be my big concern. And like I said, I wasn't even aware that this was on the agenda until I came in here, and I haven't heard anything recently about it. I know Peggy Lemons is pretty familiar with this because it was a pretty big flare-up when it initially came to everyone's attention. And the way he described the machinery, how it disintegrates, it made it sound like basically this thing is reduced to the elements really when they incinerate it, you know. But I'd be concerned if there was going to be a volume increase, if anything else. But I thought I'd run my mouth on this because I've been aware of it since they got the first approval. And remember, they sort of came back with this new machinery to put in. Ernie knows me. Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to speak, John?
Nothing else that I have.
Okay, any other comments here from the group? All right, then we need to have a motion to close the public hearing portion of this meeting.
Commissioner Abrego, I make a motion to close the public hearing.
Esparza will second it.
Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Abrego,
Yes.
Commissioner Bautista,
Yes.
Commissioner Esparza,
Yes.
Vice Chair Gutierrez,
Yes.
Chair Weisenberger.
Yes. Okay, do we have any discussion that we need to consider before we make a motion? Ladies or gentlemen?
Well, like he said about the volume, I think that's important because obviously if you're going to have more time of operation, does that mean you're going to do more? So that's a concern
Well, he
too.
mentioned earlier that because of COVID, that they've had an increase. Is that right, sir? Yes. Now, it may not be that way forever. Once COVID dies down, probably, maybe they'll go back to their normal volume.
Yes, we're like to treat more waste. That's why we're extending the hours of operation, as I mentioned before. So yes, we will increase in waste, but of course it would be treated at times when we feel our business neighbors will be gone, and we'd hopefully put most of the APHIS waste. And of course, APHIS is a problem now too, volume-wise, only because of all the ships in the harbor. They sit out there for a long period of time, and you get the same thing with COVID. So both of those, we feel doing a needed service, but those will probably both of those will be impacted, I assume, and go back to smaller volumes down the road. But I can't guarantee that. My common sense says that.
So if you're going to have more hours of operation, that means more smell, right?
Well, if you think if I smell every time I operate, I guess that was what it'd be. But I don't believe I smell every time I operate. And I guess I need to talk to this one gentleman to see what his problem is, as I mentioned, because he has not come to me and I don't know him. So we feel we're a good neighbor. That's all I can say.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Very good. Thank you, sir. Okay, in that case, we'll move to a motion here. We need a motion.
I do have a question for John. How do we put that clause in before we do the motion to approve?
You can make a motion to approve, or before you make the motion, you can suggest what you would like to add a different condition or an additional condition, and then reach a consensus before you actually make the motion. So if the additional condition is agreed upon by a majority of you, then you can make the motion to incorporate that in.
Okay. Well, I would like to make the motion to include in the conditional use permit to make sure that whatever waste is producing the most smell is processed after 5 p.m. Unless anybody else wants to.
I just want to make sure it's not toxic. So
Of course.
either if it's after 5 or before 5, it doesn't matter. I just want to make sure that everybody's safe.
After 5, yeah, because he's up to 10. You see.
Mhm.
He extended 4 hours.
So as it is right now, he is.
And I do have a question for the applicant. Do you have any type of smokestack or where the steam gets dispersed into the air? Because I know other companies, that seems to be the problem, is that they don't have a smokestack or wherever where the smell is being released into the air, and that's why it's getting into
I have
not with you, but with other businesses, it's
There-
getting into the
There's
community.
steam from washing containers that leaves my building, and then there's emissions from the Chronolux, but we haven't had any of those. That's 1,200 times cleaner than ambient air, so there's nothing really there that
Mm-hmm.
it would smell. It's not related to the autoclave process at all, and there's no expansion of that. We operate that 5 days a week. So I don't know if I answered your question, but I don't. Yeah.
So is there a stack where the steam
I-
is released? Is there a
Yeah,
certain
but
height?
it's steam coming from our container wash. We've always thought that the odor, as I mentioned, is like taking when you take a piece of bread out of the oven and you set it over on the sink.
So it's when you're transitioning the
Yeah,
waste.
it-
It's not while it's being processed.
Yes, that's correct. It's in an enclosed vessel, and so that exchange of containers takes like 10 minutes.
Mm.
But I've never, I mean,
So it's not when it's
yeah,
actually
and
being
South
processed.
South Coast Air Quality District has been out. I think way back when we first started, we had a lot of APHIS waste, and we had the wrong operating procedure on our plant, and this was way back 2011 or so, right after we first started, and we immediately changed our operations and operated a longer cycle, and that problem went away. So if there's a problem, it's usually, like I said, for about 5 minutes. They can usually smell it for about 5 minutes. So, and this guy's saying that's why I want to talk to him. So I don't know where he is I don't know where he is in that area, and we'll see. So
One other question for you.
Yeah.
By adding this condition where you would sanitize,
So I
the big
can't. Our problem
greatest
is
smell,
we
is
don't-
that going to impact you?
Yeah, our problem is I can't always tell you what's going to smell. We don't know. I mean, when ships come in with APHIS, it's bundled up. We don't go
Yeah.
searching through it to see
Mhm.
what it is. We know what it is by a manifest that says this is foreign garbage, and of course they want it treated so that fruit flies and all those other critters don't come in to the States. So we just leave it be, put it in the autoclave. But can we put the majority of it after hours? Yes, I think that's very easily done. I can't promise to be 100% of it, I guess
Sure.
is my point.
Can we put like where we're meeting back here in like 3 months, just to make sure that there's no more further complaints or any other issues before we do long-term where it's forever? I just don't want to make sure that it's going to be something that either the residents or other businesses are going to be complaining about something like this. So before we say yes to forever, I would like to say like maybe 6 months or something like that. Is that something we can do just to make sure that we're not committed to something like this?
Yes, Commissioner, you can put that as a condition to bring it back to you.
Okay, yeah, I would like to do that.
I think so too. Good point. Really.
Okay. So
Yeah, so I think we can add the clause of treating the international waste after certain hours, and then bringing it back to a second review in 6 months.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, yeah. Just to make sure it's not toxic and other people are not complaining about this and making sure that we're okay.
I think you have to word it
With the two individuals.
not 100% like he said, but majority, right?
Yeah.
Because if we add 100%, then he would be violating that our condition.
We agree on 6 months or 3 months. Whatever.
what do you think, 3 or 6 months?
Is it 3?
Think 3?
3 months.
I agree.
Yeah.
3
Yeah.
months, 3?
Yeah.
Then He's going to talk to you.
Okay. That'll give you time to talk to those two folks.
I'm sorry?
I know you said you're planning on talking to those two
Yeah.
authors of those complaints, so that
Yeah.
should give you some time.
No, that's fine.
And after all, he's not going to be doing anything different. He's still going to be
Right.
sanitizing the same stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, he said the volume will increase.
Well, volume's going to increase.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it actually gives me an opportunity to get the smelly stuff treated at off hour. I guess
Mhm.
I see that a value to them, and like I said,
Yeah.
That won't smell.
Yeah. So it's really a
Yeah.
plus.
Yeah.
It won't create that smell anymore.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So why don't we add that then, John?
Okay.
Okay. And then, having said that, then we need to make a motion then to waive the further reading and adopt this Planning Commission resolution number 2117, approving this request for the hour increase.
With adding the two
The
additional
conditions, yeah.
conditions of approval,
Yes.
Mr. Chair, yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay. So we need a motion to approve.
This is Commissioner Gutierrez. I'll go ahead and motion to approve with the two additional
Condition.
conditions.
I second, yes.
Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Abrego,
Yes.
Commissioner Bautista,
Yes.
Commissioner Esparza,
Yes.
Vice Chair Gutierrez,
Yes.
Chair Weisenberger.
Yes. Okay, very good. Let's move on to item number 4. This is an amendment to conditional use permit number 699. A request by Michael Kaufman, slash 7-Eleven Incorporated for an existing condition of approval that requires beer and malt beverages to be sold in quantities of 6 or more to be modified to allow the packages of 3 or more at 15105 Lakewood Boulevard, Unit A, in the C3 General Commercial Zone. May you report, please?
Yes, Mr. Mr. Chair and members of the commission, the applicant has requested that this item be continued to the January meeting.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Then in that case, we need a motion to continue this public hearing in the January meeting.
Esparza will make a motion to continue.
I'll
the
second
hearing to
Commissioner Abrego.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Abrego,
Yes.
Commissioner Bautista,
Yes.
Commissioner Esparza,
Yes.
Vice Chair Gutierrez,
Yes.
Chair Weisenberger.
Yes. Okay, item number 5, conditional use permit number 911. This is a request from Panatoret Priath on Kate's Corner to operate a restaurant with beer and wine for on-site consumption at 8400 Alundra Boulevard in the C3 General Commercial Zone.
Yes,
Applicant, please.
yes, Mr. Chair and members of the commission, this is a request for an existing ice cream business to transition into a cafe that would sell beer and wine for on-site consumption. And Ivan Reyes, our assistant planner, will give you the details.
Thank you, John. Honorable Chair, members of the commission, I'm here to present conditional use permit number 911 for Kate's Corner. It's a request to operate a restaurant with beer and wine for on-site consumption. The property address is 8400 Alundra Boulevard. It's located in the C3 zone, and the suite is roughly a little over 1,400 square feet. And to the right here, you have the storefront of Kate's Corner. So they're proposing to have, they currently have 2 employees, but they're proposing to hire an additional 2, so they'll have a total of 4 at some point. Their hours of operation are from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Tuesday through Sunday, and they are closed on Mondays. They're proposing to have 27 indoor customer seats. As John mentioned, they were operating as an ice cream, but now they're sort of rebranding, and they're specializing in burgers, sandwiches, and desserts from Thailand. Now on the right, there's their logo. Here's an aerial of the property. So the yellow indicates the plaza that they're located in, the project location. It's highlighted in blue there. And there's a total of 52 parking spaces on site. In the event that they do need some type of overflow parking, the adjacent property, 8330 Alundra Boulevard, it's the same property owner, so they can use that site for overflow parking, and if there's ever a need for it. So here's the storefront of Kate's Corner. So here's to the left here is the floor plan of the tenant space with the dining area, and on the right hand side is a picture of their seating that they're proposing. And it's all going to be indoor seating, and they're not proposing any outdoor seating. So for the analysis, the Paramount Public Safety Department and the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department found no concerns with proposed alcohol sales. As part of the conditions of approval, alcohol can only be consumed with meals, should constitute less than 50% of the total receipts, and the security cameras shall be installed following city review and approval of a security camera plan. And with that, the recommendations to adopt resolution PC 21023 for conditional use permit number 911. This concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ivan. Any questions,
No.
commissioners?
I do, sorry. I just want to, there is a bar next to there. I just want to know if there has been ever any complaints with the bar next to it. about loud noises or anything like that, because if we're going to allow another, obviously it's going to escalate the noise. So I just want to make sure that we've never had any noises from the adjacent buildings there.
Yeah, so we did reach out to public safety. There was no concerns about, they didn't mention any concerns about the adjacent properties or businesses. They did only just mention that there's been no complaints as far as this tenant space or any complaints about any nuisance.
Any other questions for Ivan? Okay, let's open the public hearing portion of the meeting. We got any testimony today?
Yes, I have two speaker cards in favor, one opposed, one speaker card opposed, and then I have one email opposed that I would like to read at the end. So we have the Rene Guzman, the applicant representative. If you'd like to come up and speak now.
Good evening. So my name is Rene Guzman. I'm on behalf of the representative for the applicant. Just a little bit quickly about myself. I used to be a former ABC supervisor, so I'm very familiar with the process. I was also an undercover agent. I supervised 21 cities, including the one in Paramount. So I'm very familiar with problematic places and what's considered and what I see as a problem place. Just some quick points in case anyone has any concerns or questions. You mentioned about the adjacent property.
Yes.
It's a type 48, it's a full bar.
Right.
Unlike this one, this one's required to have meals. That one is not. However, I did take one step this morning because I think that was going to be one of the questions asked. So I did a full census tract of all your ABC license locations in that census tract, and none have any ABC violations.
Okay.
Which is very respectful, and I commend the city of Paramount and the business owners. They have no violations, and those are rare situations. So you do a very good census tract. I also want to talk about, the ABC calls it consideration points. Some cities call it sensitive uses, which is schools, parks, playgrounds around the area. The nearest consideration point is over 1,589 feet away, and that's a middle school. So it's over the guidelines in the state law, which is 600 feet.
Alundra Middle School, is that the one?
Yes, it's 1,539. And for the state ABC, they call it a consideration point within 600 feet. So there's no issues there. I also want to talk about the police department. The police department had no concerns at all whatsoever. There has been no formal protest, even with the ABC application. Parking, as the planner stated, parking, there's an issue also. You have Alundra Boulevard, which is a huge boulevard, and you have Indiana. People cannot park there on Mondays from 7 to 10 a.m., but the applicant and the premise will be closed on Mondays. So parking should not be a problem because of that also. And last but not least, the consideration points. I did put a package in front of everyone. I believe you have it. Obviously, most CUPs always have some conditions attached to it. And so she was made aware of it. We went over each single one before this one. And if you can see on the first and second page, she made major improvements to the inside and the outside. If you look at the third page, we walked and she walked to every little detail. I didn't care how minor the graffiti was. We wanted it to be removed. So you can see small minor details on graffiti were immediately removed, before and after pictures. There is just something as simple as an RO that was completely removed. Also, when it comes to condition number 43 to 47, she abide by those conditions already also. If you look the second to the last page and the last page, one of the conditions says they should have 2 inches of mulch on Indiana on the lawn portion of it. And if you can see the before and after, she did that this week. And also there was a post. It appears to be like a lightning post, some type of structure that looked like it was a little run down, needed some paint and some work to be done. If you look at the last page, that also looks much better. You can see the before and after pictures. And the reason I provided this to you, because I like to see things instead of me trying to describe it to you. You can look at it. You can see you have a very respectful owner that took immediate action. I've been involved 20 plus years with my company, ABC Liquor License Experts, and I'm very selective to my clients. And I can tell you, based on my experience, this will not be a problem location at all whatsoever.
And so this is what the location looks like now?
Yes. This was taken this week. And I'm here to answer any questions you may have at all whatsoever.
Any questions?
Thank you.
sir?
Not for me.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Very informative.
Thank you.
Okay, John?
Yes, one other speaker card in favor, and I'm sorry, I'm not going to pronounce this right, but Wartama Na Lehana, if you want to come up and speak in favor.
Sorry, it's Jaranrat.
Oh, if you could press it back on. There,
Okay.
thank you. Yes.
Now, can you hear me?
Yes,
Mhm.
there you
Okay. My name is Jay Hansanwat. I'm a longtime friend that know the owner of the Cage Corner. Okay? And I know her very well. She very hardworking woman, and she tried to do everything to make it everything good. And she very honest person. Okay, she tried to help all the community all along, everywhere she could, especially in the Thai community. She want to have some beer wine license because sometimes they want to meet together for a meeting, so they can have a place to enjoy. And just a simple food, like hot dog, hamburger, a little beer, something like that. So I don't see why can't she make this place is nice, so all the Thai people, the Thai community, they can come together and meet each other sometime. So that's all. I totally support her. Thank you so much.
Is the owner here tonight?
Which one is the owner? Oh, there's the owner. Okay. Hi.
Who's the owner?
You have a good friend there.
Um, that's
You have a. Do the speakers have to fill out a card, John, ahead of time?
Yeah. No, they don't. If
Okay, we have another person that
it's
likes
a
to
public
speak.
hearing, so if you want to speak in favor, you can come up now.
Anybody else?
Sure, if
Yeah,
you'd like to
already.
speak, sir.
Yes, I've known Kate for quite some time, since 2013, and the reason that she's here today is probably because of my request. She opened her business about 5 years ago with the intent of having some of the best ice cream and family gatherings, family-oriented business where families would come in and enjoy ice cream and have coffee. It seems like the times have changed, and we actually need to bring in some other items to make the business successful. And there's a a restaurant that I frequent at least once or twice a week, and it's called Joe Schmo's, and it's in the city of Cypress. And their specialty is hot dogs, beer, and wine, and desserts. Well, I've seen a vast amount of customers coming in, just a family, just to enjoy a beer and have a hot dog and relax and talk. And I think that it would be a wonderful addition to the community for families to come in and gather with their children to enjoy the desserts, the food, and the beverages for the adults. I think it's a wonderful idea, and I don't think it would interfere with the other businesses, because it's a complete different clientele that we have. So, and I'm really support. I think the community would really benefit from having her business be approved. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sir, excuse me, could you please state your name for the record? Thank you.
My name is Michael Bautista. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, John?
Okay, we have
I
speaker
did.
card in, I believe in opposition. Yes, objection. So Dustin Cabrera?
You guys don't mind if I may read off this?
No, you're fine.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of Paramount City Council. Thank you for the opportunity to address application CUP 911 at Kate's Corner. My name is Dustin Cabrera, owner of Boulevard Cocktails at 8410 Alundra Boulevard. This will sound self-serving, but the reality is there are currently 3 on-premise liquor licenses within 500 feet of each other, plus a liquor store in that general vicinity. We all know liquor attracts a crowd, and our parking lot already supports a very busy laundromat, a very busy barbershop, and our business, Boulevard Cocktails. Plus, in the same strip mall, Kate's Corner, Blush Makeup Studio, and a Thai grocery market. We have turned our bar around from the dark, shady business it once was into a respectable local business. The locals no longer patronize other cities as much to watch sporting events, which has made us very popular in the area. Both Casa Gamino and Alundra Hot Wings have extended their bars, thus making it 3 full functioning bars in the area. We have worked closely with Officer Delgadillo to rid the bar of unnecessary problems, even lending our extensive camera system to them to fight crime. To be honest, we are concerned that the shady element we once driven away might find its way back into the area with a new license. We are also concerned that allowing a license will one, create more competition to all of us established bars on Alundra and Indiana. 2, the parking will be even more congested, which might cause all of our businesses to suffer if our patrons cannot find parking. We are all concerned that their hours of operation might get extended and essentially turning them into the 4th bar. In closing, we understand all small businesses have went through a tremendous amount of suffering due to COVID. However, we still have to object to the CUP because of the obvious parking situation, safety concerns, and competition. Thank you for your time. And if you want to ask me anything, I'll be glad to answer.
You're a full bar, I'm sorry.
Yes, 48.
Boulevard, you say
Boulevard.
Boulevard
Cocktails.
Cocktails.
Boulevard Cocktails.
So we're at the far east side of the strip mall. Like
And you
5
guys have a
doors
liquor
down.
license besides beer and wine, right?
Excuse me?
You have a liquor license,
Yes,
license
it's
besides
called
beer and wine?
a 48. So it's a full liquor license, 21 and over.
What times of operations are you open?
10 a.m. to 2 a.m.
And you sell food at your establishment
No,
also?
we do not.
No food.
No food.
Any other questions here?
No.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. John?
Yes, and then I do have the email that we received in opposition, so I'll just read that. This is from Noom Samboon, but he signs it as Sam. I have received the notice of public hearing, proposed conditional use permit number 911, the request for a conditional use permit to operate a restaurant with beer and wine at 8400 Alundra Boulevard in the C3 zone in Paramount, California. I would like to give some comments. There are many stores sell beer and wine in the area, bar and liquor store in the same plaza. We're a nearby school. There are too many drunk people around the area already. At the requested location, there might not be enough parking space. It's already hard to find a parking spot in the evening. Please take these comments for your consideration.
This is a residence, you say?
He does not indicate whether he's a resident or a business owner.
Thank you. And John, that's it for the testimony?
Yes, there's a rebuttal by the applicant if he would like to come back up.
Okay. Would the, is there any rebuttal from the applicant on these concerns?
Yes. Regarding the fact that there's, they mentioned there's other locations in the shopping center that sell alcohol, I think it's very important that we follow the law. The state law is very clear on that. You got off sales and on sales. You can't compare both. The state does not allow that. When it comes to over-concentration issues, off sales have their own category, and off sales have their own category. So you can't say, for instance, I know for a fact there's 3 or 4 large supermarkets around the area also. So I believe there's a Rite Aid also. And so you can't compare a Rite Aid off-sale privileges type 21 to a type 41 beer and wine on sale. There's 2 different aspects. It's like comparing, it's apples and oranges. So the state has strong criteria as to, I know people mentioned it's alcohol. Yes, it's alcohol, but it's a big difference between beer, wine, and hard liquor, beer and wine only, a distillery, someone that does distillery. For instance, one of the over-concentration issues to mention, but it wasn't mentioned, but I'll mention it, is there's an Elk Lodge, and the Elk Lodge doesn't fit in. A lot of these places, like they mentioned the Mexican restaurant across the street, they have 2 licenses. It's called duplicate license because they do catering. So when there's a wedding, they take it for off-sale privileges for a wedding location like a banquet hall. So that is not part of the statistics. So, so the liquor store is there, but it's a completely different ball game when it comes to on sale. This particular location, they must, by law, they must sell more food than alcohol. They must stay open to the general public at any age. It's not 21 and over, unlike the gentleman who owns the bar. They're not required to sell food. They are required to sell food. And in the hours of operation, they close at 2 o'clock in the a.m. It's not going to happen in a restaurant. And I know city council will never allow that. So it's completely different. When it comes to drunks, I think someone mentioned too many drunks in the area. Police department would have had a major concern if that was a big issue. We would have someone from the police, because I've had this, we would have had someone from the sheriff's department testify against it. And the ABC stats didn't reflect that at all. I believe there was another issue, parking. I mentioned the parking, yes. There's 51, correct me if I'm wrong, but 51 or 52 slots in that shopping center, but like I mentioned, there's Alundra, there's also Indiana, and the landlord, who obviously very supportive of her, Gloria has that restaurant right across the street with a huge parking structure. Also, take in consideration the patron capacity. It's 27. It's a small place. It's not a big bar like the Gentleman's Bar. It's not like that. It's a very small place. And their hours are very limited. Any other concerns, questions?
Are they still going to sell ice cream? It was an ice cream.
Yes, they are. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, yes, sir.
Yeah, for the record, my name is Dustin Cabrera. That was a written statement I had, and I would beg any of you guys to go down there on a Thursday or Friday. We're fighting for parking as it is. Okay, that's the bottom line. I'm there on the ground floor daily. I know that. And John Cabrera testified to it. Also, I have John King. I work with him. He knows parking is tough there. There's no parking for the apartment building just south of our strip mall. They actually use our parking overnight. So the parking is a huge problem there. And the reason why the sheriffs do not have record, because I personally chase the drunks off. I personally go out there and run people out of the parking lot that are drinking, me and my staff. So that's why there's not a lot of record, a lot of police incidences over there, because I'm handling it firsthand. I feel for them, I understand, but the bottom line here is they're chasing the alcohol. I know firsthand what the alcohol is, what it does, how people act. Having more in that area, the bottom line is going to be problems. I promise you that. it will be problems. And aside from the competition, okay, obviously, that's my dog in the fight is the competition, okay? But also, there's what's going to happen when we kick someone out because they're threatening or they're drunk and belligerent, and then they go down there and they get more drunk, and then the cops are involved. You know, it's not as easy as stating statistics. There's the human aspect of it, of seeing what's going on and seeing being on the ground floor, and I'm concerned how it's going to affect the parking will be a problem. I promise you that. It's already a problem, hands down. It's a problem. So I just want to make that clear so you guys are aware, and that's all I have to say.
Is there any way we can restructure the parking structure, like where it increases the amount of, or is it too small to even make adjustments there?
Yeah, there's not any room to restripe or recirculate to gain more parking.
Didn't they say the owner is across the street where Casa Camino is, right? So Gloria is the owner of that?
I do have a comment for the applicant regarding the parking situation, because on the staff report, they mentioned that the adjoining or the adjacent lot across the street where Casa Camino is owned by the same landlord.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like you're able to use that parking. It looks like if there's a parking issue, it really needs to be addressed with the landlord and make sure that I think that honestly it's going to be the laundromat. Like you said, I'm familiar with the area, so I mean, you do have some apartment owners there. I think that's really nothing you can do besides, I think you put up signs, right, to make sure that only customers are using the parking, and maybe start enforcing that, because I know that, I mean, you see that everywhere. Anytime you have commercial or businesses or retail space parking next to residential homes, they always use the residential parking. I mean, excuse me, they use the parking for residential purposes and they're not using it for the business. So I think the shopping center needs to get together there and work together and maybe talk to the local sheriffs and make sure that those vehicles that are not they're not being parked there for the business center are getting cited to help alleviate some of the go ahead.
One thing that just came to mind, I'm not allowed to use Gloria's parking. So when I spoke to her, she's also my landlord, obviously. But if they both have the same operating hours and she's busy, which she is, it's a very popular restaurant, what happens then? We're busy, she's busy. Where do these new customers come in that are going there to consume alcohol? Where do they park?
Yeah. So I guess this is more of a question for the applicant.
Okay, well, I'm
is
just
that parking that the landlord is allowing you to use, is that only for you, or does the rest of the business center get to use it?
It's everybody.
How many parking spaces do we give them?
Well,
Because I think the whole complex shares a parking.
Yeah.
It's not designated parking
Mr.
spaces.
Gutierrez, I completely agree with you with that. I think it's more of an internal thing where the landlord should be having a meeting and try to resolve if there's a way of working around stuff like that. It could be something as simple as this slots are designated for this particular location. And you're absolutely right. A lot of the residents do have a tendency to park in places like this.
Yeah,
They
so
do that a
and I
lot.
think that's something you got to address with the sheriff so they can get cited, right?
Yes, yeah, something like that will work, definitely. One of the things I do want to mention is let's not lose focus of the patron capacity. 27, it's a real small place. And I know the gentleman said there was a concern that if they get drunk at the bar, they're going to go to this place. And we have to use not just statistics. This is not the place where they're going to go and get drunk. They're not going to go and have ice cream and a beer.
Yeah.
It's a whole different ballgame, you know. They're going to watch sports. This ain't, football Sundays. This ain't going to be the place. It's completely different. But they're definitely something they have to work out among, and the landlord obviously has a big parking structure. I'm sure she could work something out. But other than that, I don't see, like a clear cut, because you really can't make more room on the parking structure. That's the way it is. But if there's any other concerns outside of the parking, I'm here. So, I mean, yes.
They're only going to consume 50% while they eat, right?
Yeah.
With the meals at that location, the new location. That's what it says.
well, they have to consume food in order to.
Right. 50%.
Right, and whoever goes there,
Right.
they have to consume, yes,
50%.
absolutely. So there is
They
50%.
close at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, they close at 9.
Right.
Yeah.
Boulevard closes at 2.
Yes.
Right. So I think a lot of the parking that is in there is from residents,
Yeah.
as I can see it.
I-
Because the Boulevard is very busy, let me tell you. I've heard it. You know, I don't go in there, but I've heard it. It is very, very busy.
I've been in front of LA Planning Commission so many times, and this is always an issue. And there's so much area in LA, and there's so many businesses growing near Staples, and that happens a lot. And no one gets cited. That may be a problem that they would have to address it with the local police department. Say, maybe it's time to start citing. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, if the commission is concerned about parking, we have done joint parking agreements in the past. You could request that the applicant look for another area to do joint parking. I know next to Gus's is the parking lot owned by Emmanuel Church. Just a consideration for you.
Isn't that too far?
I was going to mention this.
Yeah. What does the applicant have an issue with parking? Because I know the person in opposition had an issue with parking, but does the applicant have an issue with parking? No.
Well, they don't now, but their concern is once they start selling alcohol, that they might.
Yeah. So John, I do have a
Keep
question.
in mind, if and might are not grounds for considering a CUP.
Yeah.
You have to keep in mind that when you're looking at a CUP for alcohol, your main concern is going to be whether or not there's an overconcentration of alcohol that's served. The applicant has done their due diligence. The Sheriff's Department has reviewed it, hasn't found any issue with it. Furthermore, the ABC has given its analysis and has made a determination that establishments that serve alcohol along with food, they have a lesser concern with that. So I would just caution the Planning Commission to not go beyond speculation to determine parking when in fact you don't know that at this point. And it would behoove the commission to look at this as competition and economic conditions are not a grounds for any type of consideration for a CUP. That's just part of it. So I think I would just advise the commission at this point to look at what is in the staff report. Any ability of the applicant to maybe get other parking, the applicant can pursue, but at this point you can't require it because it would depend on the agreement and approval of a third party, which may or may not happen.
And I do have a comment to the rest of the commission. And we recently approved another restaurant, which is Aki Verde across the street, and it's consumption of alcohol with food. And I think it's a good thing because it's going to bring in more economic growth to the community. A lot of people go out for dinner, and they do want to have alcoholic beverages. So usually you have to go out of the area for that. So I think it would help promote economic growth. And once again, it's not a bar; they're having alcohol with food. So I really don't see a concern with it. I think honestly, it's going to help the city bring more foot traffic in and help increase the.
I agree. Yeah.
Okay. John, do we have any more comments?
No, that's it, sir.
Okay. In that case, let's have a motion to close the public hearing portion of this meeting.
Commissioner Abrego, I make a motion we close the public hearing for permit number 911.
I second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Abrego,
Yes.
Commissioner Bautista,
Yes.
Commissioner Esparza,
Yes.
Vice Chair Gutierrez,
Yes.
Chair Weisenberg.
Yes. Okay, then let's, in this case, we're ready to entertain a motion to waive the further reading and adopt this Planning Commission resolution, 21023.
This is
Approving
Commissioner
this-
Gutierrez. I'll go ahead and motion to approve.
Esparza will second it.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Abrego,
Yes.
Commissioner Bautista,
Yes.
Commissioner Esparza,
Yes.
Vice Chair Gutierrez,
Yes.
Chair Weisenberger.
Yes. Okay, let's move to reports, oral reports on city council actions.
Yes, the city council met on Tuesday evening, and the commission might be familiar with Senate Bill number 9, which was signed by the governor this past fall and will take effect on January 1st. And that's a bill that allows single-family residential zones to construct up to 4 single-family residences, and you can do a subdivision of a single-family lot into 2 lots, and then you can do 2 houses on each lot. That bill takes effect on January 1st. The council adopted an urgency ordinance to take effect immediately to implement the standards that we are allowed to implement. We're not allowed to do a lot. We can't require parking in certain circumstances. We can require certain objective things, such as the architecture, the exterior of how a house looks, but we're kind of tied behind, our hands are tied behind our back on doing additional things. So that was an urgency ordinance. It's effective for 45 days. We will probably go back to the city council in January to extend that for 10 months to give us enough time to write an ordinance that will protect the city, the single-family residential zones, as much as we can. And that was it.
Okay, item number 7, comments. Any comments from our city attorney?
Mr. Chair, yes, thank you very much. On behalf of the City Attorney's Office, we would like to wish each and every one of you a very safe and blessed Christmas and a new year coming up. So we really enjoyed working with you this past year, and we look forward to next year as well.
Thank you, John.
Thanks.
Our commissioners, we have any comments from commissioners tonight?
No?
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you too.
About staff?
Yes, we would just like to wish all of the commissioners Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you. In that case, we will move to adjourn, and until our next meeting, January 11th, 2022 at 6 p.m.
Okay, we'd like to call to the order of our Paramount Development Review Board meeting. It's 7:14. Is it 7:14?
7:13.
7:13. Yeah, it's close. 7:13 p.m. Can I get a roll call, members, please?
Board Member Bautista?
Yes.
Board Member Sparza?
Yes.
Board Member Weisenberger?
Here.
Vice Chair Gutierrez?
Present.
Chair Abrego?
Yes. Okay, approval of minutes for November 9th, 2021. Can I get a motion to approve? Review and approve.
Second. Smart. Oh, first?
I'll first.
Thanks, Liz.
To approve?
We have a first and we have a second. Roll call, please.
Board Member Bautista?
Yes.
Board Member Sparza?
Yes.
Board Member Weisenberger?
Yes.
Vice Chair Gutierrez?
Yes.
Chair Abrego?
Yes.
You already won the second.
Any public comments?
No public comments.
No. Okay, item 2, report arts nonprofit Piece by Piece to install a non-commercial mosaic mural on the Paramount Community Center.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the Development Review Board. This is a report, a receive and file, on an art installation, mosaic, that's proposed at the Paramount Community Center at Paramount Park, and John King will give you the details.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Board Chair and board members. This is just a very brief presentation. This isn't actually a approve or deny. It's just a receive and file, so more informational, just so to keep you in the loop of what's going on and how we are channeling the fees that come in. So for projects valued, development projects over $100,000. There's a 1% fee that developers, so these are large projects that that developers pay, goes into an art fund. We've talked about this before, but just can give you a little summary. So for this project, it's for City of Paramount property. It's at the Paramount Park. It's for the Paramount Community Center, where we have our senior center is the main user of the community center. So we're going with this nonprofit called Piece by Piece, and you can see here they're a nonprofit arts program and social enterprise. And what they do, they train folks that are formerly homeless or close to being homeless, very low income residents of Los Angeles County. They give them a skill. So trained artists, they help them out, and it's a wonderful program. There's a lot of examples of what they've done throughout the county. And this next slide is just an example of one of them. So you can see on the wall the various shapes, and they've done this on private property, public property. So this is a great opportunity. So here at Paramount Park, and this is where it will go. It's 2 walls, so it kind of turns the corner. This is the main entry to the community center, and I think you've all been here. So you see one section is 142 inches by 91 inches, and
Everybody.
it's not too bad. The other is everyone reset their phones. Yeah, Saved by the Bell. And the other is this other section is 223 inches by 22 feet. You can see that. So it turns the corner, and here's what's proposed. So we're looking for a very colorful type of mosaic mural, and you can see this is a little different from we have a lot of sculptures, so very defined or 3-dimensional sculptures. We've introduced murals, painted murals. So this will be one of the first mosaic murals, a different medium. And being that it's the community center with the seniors, we dropped in, asked the group to drop in a few, we call them Easter eggs, just little nuggets. If you look closely, if you look carefully, it ties into some of the activities that go on there. So movie night, art, healthy eating, there's some fruit. The seniors, they love the exercise classes, and they're back during COVID. They're all spaced, have the appropriate spacing, but they're still doing exercise and crocheting and music and dance. So those are there. So it's fun. You know, you could take a look and go up close and kind of find these nuggets, do a little like a treasure hunt. And with that's really it. And I hope you like it when it comes about next year.
Okay.
Just a question. Why that particular shape?
We had a number of options, and this we got a lot of feedback from. This is as we mentioned, the seniors. So we were in touch with the senior manager. So there's the community services director, and then the manager who manages all the programming there. And she met with the seniors and got their input. So there were a few different options, more historic. What was the other one? More transportation oriented, because this isn't far from where the upcoming light rail station will be. So there was a theme. And then we got into the different shapes. And this, to them, they felt that this was a lively representation. It wasn't they didn't like boxy. They were kind of okay with ovals, but they thought this was more free. It's like a bird's wings or a feather. Butterfly wings, kind of somewhere in there. So they found it very expressive, and it ties into the dance and exercise.
Any other questions?
Good answer.
We're good?
Very good answer.
Thanks, John. Thank you. Any comments from our board members? No more? Okay. Comments from staff?
Nothing from staff.
All right. This meeting is adjourned. Our next meeting, it will take place on January 11th, 2022, 6 p.m. Call to the order of Paramount Economic Development Board, 721. Can I get a roll call of members?
Board Member Bautista?
Yes.
Board Member Gutierrez?
Present.
Board Member Weisenberger?
Here.
Vice Chair Esparza?
Here.
Chair Brago?
Here. Approval minutes for November 9th, 2021. Can we get a review and approval, please?
I move to approve the minutes from November 9th.
Have a first. Can we get a roll call?
Board Member Bautista?
Yes.
Board Member Gutierrez?
Yes.
Board Member Weisenberger?
Yes.
Vice Chair Esparza?
Yes.
Chair Brago?
Yes. Any public comments?
No public comments.
Okay. Oral report, Ports of Los Angeles, Long Beach, and Supply Chain.
Yes, Mr. Chair and board members, our intern, Cassandra Conejo, will give you a report on what's happening down in the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach.
Thank you, John, and thank you, Chair Brago and members of the board. I will, as John mentioned, be presenting on the current situation with the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach and how it is impacting our supply chain. So for a bit of background on the ports, the Port of Los Angeles and Port of Long Beach comprise the San Pedro Bay Port Complex, which handles more containers per ship than any other port complex in the world. In fact, 40% of sea freight coming into the United States comes through these two ports. So, as you can imagine, the pandemic has greatly impacted our ports. When you take the unprecedented consumer demand that shifted to e-commerce and couple it with the shortage of truck drivers and warehouse workers that we've seen during this pandemic, there are some major consequences to our supply chain. As you can see in this image, we are dealing with long lines of ships waiting to unload, unloaded containers left at ports for longer periods than they were pre-pandemic, both of which result in longer shipping times and increased costs for customers. Due to how vital these ports are for distributing the nation's sea freight, there has been pressure from the federal government and big businesses such as Amazon, Walmart, and Target to move these containers off the port faster to make room for more imports that are coming in. So with this pressure, the solution the ports first proposed and approved was an emergency fee, also known as a container dwell fee. This was passed this year on October 29th, and it would carry a fee of $100 per container on the first day past the set dwelling limit, and the fee increases by $100 each day. The goals are to incentivize timely removal of containers, improve the flow of the supply chain, and reduce the congestion that we're currently seeing in the ports. Though it was proposed, the fee has yet to be implemented, and implementation dates have been pushed back now 5 different times. This is because since the announcement of a possible fee, there has been a 38% combined decline in these aging cargo at the ports. The ports approved the fee, but they are trying to implement other measures to eliminate the backlog, such as expanding their hours of operation and moving unloaded cargo to nearby vacant lots to make room for new cargo. As of December 13th, this past Monday, the fees have been delayed again to December 20th. Looking forward, the ports are brainstorming measures to streamline the supply chain without the need for a fee, and these so far have been working. For instance, just today, they announced a supply chain information highway to improve the flow of the supply chain with a digital data sharing platform that shippers can use to communicate with businesses about where their shipments are. All in all, continued progress is expected in the months to come, and the situation has been looking up at the ports. So that will conclude my presentation. I am open to any questions that you all may have.
Any questions, anyone? Board members? No? It's good information. Thank you.
Yes, good job.
Yep. Okay, next item's comments. Any comments from our board members? Okay. Comments from staff?
Nothing from staff.
Next meeting is scheduled for January 11th, 2022 at 6 p.m. Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy New Year's.
Merry Christmas.
Well. To George, happy holidays.